Okay, well, good morning, everybody. It's nice to have everybody here join us for our monthly guest speaker for Training Wheels Off, our support group. We have Jill here with us this morning, who's going to tell us about care options. It's a very complex field that some of us find difficult to navigate, but she's going to break it down for us and make it simple so we can understand it. And then we'll have an open question and answer at the end. She's part of the organization Golden Girls, really good group. If you live in this area, I highly recommend you using them if you need any assistance, but I'll let her talk more about that. So with that being said, Jill, take it away and I'll advance the slides for you. Everybody see the screen okay?
Jill's on mute.
Oh, let me unmute you. Sorry about that. My bad. Oops, sorry about that. Those days. You have to unmute yourself, Jill. Sorry, I can't do it for you. There you go.
Okay, how about now? Thumbs
There
up
you
if
go.
everyone can hear me.
There you go.
Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to be talking about different care options in this area. And the area I'm talking about is anywhere in Manatee, Sarasota, Charlotte counties. And what gives me this right to have this opportunity to talk to you about these care options? I've been in the area over 30 years. I have been in senior living in various capacities in these three counties and actually down to Naples in various capacities. As executive director for memory care, assisted living, independent living. I've worked in skilled nursing. I've worked with home health agencies. And so that's a pretty long time. I know I might only look 30 to you, but I'm a lot older than that. So I've been able to partner with many different agencies in this area, and there's a lot of them. And when it comes time looking for different care options, it's overwhelming, it's confusing. And so what Golden Girls does is helps narrow down your choices based on what you're interested in rather than Googling. And Googling is a very scary option these days. So you can go ahead and share the next slide. So today we're going to kind of go over a couple different options and just an overview. And if anyone has any specific questions later, I'll be happy to talk with them. But the reason for this is to know your choices well ahead of time and before any emergency or before you have to make any decisions, either for yourself, a loved one, someone you're caring for, or even a friend or neighbor. It's important to know the choices, what's out there, and before a crisis or emergency happens, because if a crisis or emergency happens, your choices are limited. The choice becomes someone else's, and you never want to lose that kind of control. So we'll go over different senior living community options, private duty if you are wanting to stay in your home, versus home care or home health care, rehabilitation versus long-term care, how to pay for this care. It's expensive out there. So what are your options that you can take care of now to help with that type of care if you ever have to pay for it? The veterans benefits, if there are any veterans out there. Do we have any veterans out there? There may be some information I'll share that you may not have heard of before. And then, of course, Medicaid. And then other community resources that are available to you, and when to call and who to call and how they can assist you. Next slide. So there are senior living communities, and you've heard of 55 and older independent living communities. And these are kind of like cruise ships on grounds. They're all about lifestyle, maintenance-free living. There's some of the newer ones just are there to, you can get your free meals. They may have meal packages. They may have swimming pools, entertainment. They may have extravagant bars, go on trips. You may pay, it depends. There's the community care or continuing care retirement communities where you actually purchase a villa, a home, or an apartment, and then you pay monthly maintenance fees. They may have a continuing care where they'll have independent living, assisted living, skilled care, all whole gamut. So you would live there for the rest of your life, which is a big commitment. Some people start years ahead because you want to make sure this is a place you really want to be. So people start years ahead because they want to kind of date the place before they marry it. And you want to make sure you love the administration, you love the programming, you love the maintenance, you love the different levels of care. So you want to attend many different events and, just make sure it's a match made in heaven, because many of these buy-ins you may not be able to buy out. It's a great investment for folks that might have family out of town, or the golf course that it's on, those sorts of things. So it's a great option for some people. Some people don't want that commitment, and there are some just rental that are month to month that you can get out of in 60 days. And then if they ever need care, they can get home health or a companion service, which we'll get into that a little bit later. Some have 1 meal a day, some have 3 meals a day, some have different packages. There's some beautiful places out there that, again, it's about lifestyle, it's about having fun, it's about having maintenance free, not mowing your lawn anymore. They may have laundry services, or you may choose to do your own. So the pricing, $2,700. I just went to a place this past week that someone was paying $6,900 for independent living, but it's like you're taking a cruise on land. It's completely extravagant. Meals are filet mignon and lobster, and you can go as simple and as extravagant as you want. So we can move on to the next slide. There is the next level would be assisted living, and this is for someone who no longer wants or can live at home, may need some personal care help. There's usually on-site caregivers that are there around the clock, and they can help coordinate healthcare services. Some of them have doctors that will come once a week, so you don't have to go out to doctor's appointments. They'll have an individualized care plan where they'll have certain goals, whether it be to keep you more independent, or make sure that your nutrition is well. And usually a nurse is oversight of an assisted living. There's typically you'll have a pendant in case you need to call for help, and there's varying degrees of assistance. For assisted living, you can go in very independently and just want to go in there because you're done cooking, you don't want to cook any meals anymore, you don't feel safe, you might have had a recent fall at home, or you don't want to do your laundry, you've been messing up your medications, or you know, a variety of different things. But there's supportive services like housekeeping and meals and programming, like activities. There's also typically occupational physical therapy. Some places specialize in Parkinson's disease. So they may have specialized exercise programming or partnerships with Parkinson's Place or Neuro Challenge. Well, they'll offer some supportive services, and most of them do offer transportation. These also can vary in price. The average cost is about $4,500. So it just depends. Some have levels of care or point systems based on providing the care that you need. And there are a whole range of apartment sizes, prices. Some have swimming pools, some don't, some have beautiful gardens. So again, there's probably 100 in Sarasota County. So it can get very confusing with different pricing systems. And it's kind of important to figure out what is important to you. Is it keeping your pet with you? Is it having a swimming pool? Is it having a spacious outdoor area? Having a large bedroom, or, you know, those different things. So those are things we can also help you narrow down. And it's important to know different reputations and consistent management to make sure that there's not a lot of turnover and things like that. So, all right, we can switch on to the next. And then the next higher level of care would be a memory care, and that's a place that will specialize in dementia and Alzheimer's care. And usually these places, all the memory and dementia care are secured, meaning that no one can come in without being let in or go out without being let out. The average cost is $5,500, and I have, in my experience, there are very few that are that low. They tend to be on the little bit higher side due to the fact that they have higher staffing ratios and they have higher level of training for their specialized population. So they cater to individuals that may have, you know, a need for more direction, more hands-on, not necessarily physical care, but hands-on attention. And the come on, let's go mentality is more or less of the type of approach that's used with people with memory issues or dementia. And their programming, because of the disease, the programming has to be very specialized to make sure that it is really resident focused. It's really focusing on past interests and hobbies and things that are really helping them be successful for that day. All right. Go ahead and forward to the next one. And then, so there's also options if you wish to stay at home, and if that's an option. And there's private duty and companion home care. And so private duty can actually come to your home, and they usually go in increments of 4 to 6 hours. And that is between $35 and $40 an hour. They usually help with housekeeping, light laundry. They can take you on errands. Some can help with personal care. A companion service cannot help with anything with personal care. They can be there to keep you company, tidy up, feed the dog, different things like that. Make your bed. The private duty can assist with personal care, help you take a shower or bath, things like that. And then that is not covered by insurance. That is all private personal funds. The home care is covered by your health insurance and typically prescribed by a physician due to the fact that you need that assistance due to a medical need. And other examples of home health besides personal care is the physical, occupational, and speech therapy. And they also can do skilled if you get a wound or if you have a hospital stay and you're coming home and you need that extended service, or you have an illness, the doctor can prescribe a certain time. Once that time runs out, then you'd be able to call the home health and pay privately. So there are some times where an assisted living, even if it's a short-term stay, might be more affordable. And there are some assisted livings and memory cares that will do a short-term stay, which is called respite, which could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days to up to 3 months. So that is also an option. That is possible. Okay, next slide. All right, and then we have our rehabs and our long-term cares. Now, the old nursing home, so to speak, is kind of went away. The old nursing home where grandma used to be doesn't really exist anymore. Those are now our assisted livings and our memory cares, but they're much nicer. They're home-like. They're we have apartments, or it looks like a home or a house, so it's much more pleasant. The rehab facilities, their mission is to get you in and get you out as quick as they can. So if you have a fall and you go into a rehab facility, you can rest assured that they want you out. As much as you want out of there, they want you out even more, because there are so many Medicare restrictions on getting you improved, because they don't, Medicare doesn't want them spending their money frivolously. So they have strong guidelines. They want you to have a lot of therapy quickly and then discharge to home or to a lesser amount of care. So they have acute rehab facilities, and there you get 3 hours of rehab a day. And then they may, after the rehab, move you to a skilled nursing facility, which will give you up to 1 hour of therapy a day. And then at that point, if you still need help, they may discharge you to, assisted living or back to your home, where you would get outpatient rehab. So there's different levels that way. And typically when you do that outpatient rehab, it will be covered by your insurance. So then there's long-term care facilities. And this is, I guess you can consider this the old SNF, or the old nursing home. But this is when care exceeds assisted living regulations. And assisted living still has those additional licensures that do allow that additional care level. So it's not very often we see people necessarily needing that long-term care. It feels more like a hospital, not a home, or a warm, cozy assisted living. It's more of a medical model with complex medical needs. People with, feeding tubes and breathing, life support systems are more candidates for that. And the average rate for a semi-private room for a long-term care facility is $300 to $400 a day. So it's quite an expense. Oh, go ahead and next slide. So how to pay for your care. There's always private pay. Long-term care insurance, if you planned ahead. Long-term care pays for a lot of different things. There's usually some type of 60-day to 90-day where you have to private pay before the policy will kick in, but it just depends on your plan on what it will cover. There's veteran benefits, aid and attendance. There's two different, there's a lot of veteran benefits that I know a lot of veterans do not know about. And my dad is a Vietnam veteran, a Marine, and I've been in senior living for, again, 33 years. And he had no idea that he was eligible for veteran benefits until I educated him. A single veteran could be eligible for up to $2,300 a month for assisted living care. There's also a community-based, which is different from the aid and attendance. Aid and attendance is for assisted living, memory care. And then there's the community-based attendance, which you would possibly be eligible for community-based care. And that care would be for care to keep you in your home, for home health, companion service, and assistance for adult day care. And adult day programs are becoming increasingly popular. And there are a couple in this area, and they're fantastic programs. There's some that charge you per day and some that charge per hour. And they're all very different from each other. And they're fantastic. They keep you active. They keep you physically active. They have entertainment. They make sure that you're using all parts of your brain to keep your brain healthy. Some provide transportation. Some don't. Some are, they're fantastic options. But getting back to the aid and attendance, a surviving spouse could get up to $14.78 a month. And a veteran with a spouse could get $27.27 per month. And these change every year. Two married veterans up to $36.49 a month. And we can always help you navigate on where to go and who to contact for that. So Medicaid is also an option, and bridge loans. Elder Life Financial is a free service, or at least they will give you a free consultation. And bridge loans are a loan if you have to move into a community. They will give you a loan until you sell your home. And some communities will have you they'll pay the interest on that loan for when you move in, until you move in. Okay, next. So other resources that we have, and we try to work with, the best we can. We vet all of our people that we work with, because we want to work with honest, reliable people that have no complaints and that families are like, that was the best experience we've had. Case manager or care managers. These are people that can help with your affairs. If let's say you don't have family in town, and what am I going to do if I go in the hospital? Who's going to take care of my loved one? We help together work on plan B. What happens if that happens? What happens in the middle of the night? And you're the caregiver and you go in the hospital and you can't leave your loved one alone. Care manager will be that adopted daughter or adopted son that will come into the rescue and sit at the hospital with your loved one, or, you know, put your plan in motion. Elder law attorneys, there are so many little pieces that have to be put in place. Making sure that you have what you need to keep you safe, to keep your affairs safe, especially here in Florida. Transportation services, you know, did you know that there's a $3 charge to be transported anywhere in Sarasota? We can get you connected. Adult daycare centers, I shared a little bit about those with you. Senior move managers. Moving is probably the most stressful thing in the world. You've all moved here from somewhere, most likely. And who wants to do that again? So looking at the future, if you need to downsize and you've got, you know, 25 years of stuff, a senior move manager can help you organize and help you identify. They can go through your house and set up a move. They're lifesavers. They take the stress out of a huge stressful time. Support groups like this one. It's important. Hopefully this support group is something that you feel good about coming to. And there's a lot of others out there too. And some of you may have several support groups you go to. Some of you may want more support groups to go to. And you know, we can assist with that too. And then real estate specialists. Not every real estate specialist is here for you and your best interest. So we work with some senior certified real estate interests that are here for your best interest. And you know, there are very few out there that, you know, have that senior specialized certification. And then end of life doulas and hospice. So, okay, next. So again, when do you call? You can call us anytime. You know, again, having a plan in place ahead of time before an emergency, because again, once you have an emergency or a crisis, the decision no longer becomes yours. It becomes your family's, it becomes your neighbors, it becomes the hospital. You don't get to choose. It comes wherever there's an opening. And things come more limited. And you always want to stay in control of that, or at least, you know, have a plan in place. If you have just been diagnosed with something, or you're having a surgery and you want to have a backup. If you're experiencing a health decline, or your loved one is, and you want to just, again, have that safety net. When things are becoming hard to manage, when you know, you're feeling kind of out of control, like you're not being able to take care of things like you used to. And when you're feeling isolated, socialization is so important. You might not have always been a social person, but loneliness causes depression. It causes mental decline. It causes health decline. So it's important to, you know, have a support circle and to have people who care around you. It's important for, you know, your healing and your physical and mental well-being. So that's when you can reach out to us anytime you want. All right, next. So these are the two amazing owners. When I left my last position, I didn't call anybody except for Brittany and Crystal. And I said, am I golden enough? Because I didn't want to go anywhere else but work for these two amazing people. They're incredibly ethical. They just won Reader's Choice Best of the Best for Sarasota. And they're just amazing people. They will consult with anybody. Again, it's complimentary. We don't collect a penny from you. We're just here to help. So anything we can do to help you, or if you have any questions, or ask away.
Thanks so much, Jill. Appreciate that presentation. As I had mentioned to Brittany, even though the majority of our folks are not from Florida, still the information was very helpful as far as things that we probably weren't aware of. I guess the question I would ask before I open it up for everybody else is, so if you are living in another state, if you live in Chicago, or you live in San Diego, where would you go to find some of this information? Obviously you're not going to call Golden Girls because you guys deal with Florida and Florida law and all that. Is there any kind of recommendations you can make if you live in other states where you might try to find assistance or learn more about assistance options?
Yes. Number one, do not Google. You can call us because we have partners across the United States.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we have vetted other placement companies across the United States. So when we've got a lot of families that are in Florida that need to move back home to be near family. And so when that happens, we partner with other placement companies that have the same values as Golden Girls, and we connect them with that person.
Oh, okay. That's good to know, because I actually have a friend of mine in Connecticut whose wife was diagnosed with aphasia, and she's progressing very fast. And he's like, I don't know who to call. I don't know where I'm going to get help from because I can't do it all anymore. I can't manage it myself. So
Yeah.
I will definitely reach out to him and let him know to give you guys a call.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, well, I'll open
Sure.
it up for Q&A. Either raise your physical hand or your virtual hand, and I'll unmute you or ask you to unmute. And you can ask a question of Jill on the topic that we're going over today. Looking for anybody's hands. Oh, everybody's really quiet today.
Where's everybody from?
All over the place. Ron, did you have a question? You got to unmute yourself, Ron. Yeah, they have people from all over. Hey, we have a guy from Peru, but he's not here today. I can't unmute you, Ron. Sorry. There you go.
Now,
There you go.
okay.
Go ahead.
My question, Roger, is to get started. What's the first step? What do you make an appointment? You have an interview? You meet somewhere, or how do you get the ball rolling?
Yeah,
When I want to
give us
sit with this person, my wife and I discuss our long-term plans at this time in our life. I mean, everybody has a different story to tell, and we could just maybe throw out some ideas when I meet this person or you. I'd like to meet you. Uh-oh. All right, my computer's old.
Yeah, you would just reach out, give me a call, or call Golden Girls, and we'd set up a meeting. We could meet at Starbucks or a coffee shop or wherever, or your home,
Okay.
and just kind of give us an idea what's going on, and that's how we start.
Okay. Roger, will there be a link on this?
Yeah, I'll include the presentation plus the phone number and all that, so we can get a hold of Jill or Brittany or one of those folks, those fine folks at the Golden Girls Solutions.
Okay.
Thanks.
But I saw them in the blue. I saw them in the blue book that has all this information.
Mm-hmm.
So I can check it out.
Excellent.
Great.
Well, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Hope to see you
Sure.
soon.
All right, great.
Your
Look forward to it.
Okay.
Okay, Linda, you have to unmute yourself, Linda.
There.
There you go.
So if you don't expect to be using one of these facilities for a few years, it would still be wise to contact you now.
Absolutely. You never know what the future holds.
I know.
you know, so it's good to at least kind of see what's out there. I just met with a family that, you know, I mean, she hopes to never have to do anything. And we just looked at two, and, you know, she's like, you know, at least I have an idea. You know, it was better than she expected, which gave her a little solace. And she goes, I don't feel guilty anymore. You know, I feel better. You know, but it gave her kind of a look into it, because she had heard so many, you know, you hear those things from attorneys on, you know, lawsuits and abuse and everything else. And then, you know, when you show her what one looks like, she goes, you know, I feel so much better. I won't feel bad if I ever have to do this. And talked about different options, you know, if different options about staying in home, modifying home, keeping safe until then. She had no idea about some of the things we could do in her home to, you know, keep her loved one safe. So, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it makes me think of the saying, you know, failing to plan is planning to fail. So if you don't make plans in advance of an emergency, like you said in the presentation, you know, you don't want to do it when you're in the middle of a crisis. It's the wrong time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Does that answer your question, Linda?
Did indeed. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have a question? Want to raise their
Think-
hands physically?
I think Drew was raising
Oh,
his
Drew.
hand.
Yeah,
do,
go ahead,
yeah.
Drew. Go ahead, Drew.
Jill, Jill, I don't think you mentioned how Golden Girls derives its income from helping people. Well, how do you charge for this?
How we get our income?
Yeah, how
how
do you finance your
How do you
operation?
how do you charge for your services?
Sure. What we do is we contract with most of the communities in the area. And so when we place somebody, that is how we get paid. But at the same time, if there's a community that we feel is failing and not giving good care, we will not utilize them. We also have a very select group of attorneys and different things, different move coordinators. We're very selective of who we partner with. We don't partner with every single home health, and we don't get paid on a lot of referrals that we give. You know, we've helped people that have had Medicaid. We don't get paid a penny on that, which makes us different than other placement companies, because I've talked to care managers and they said, well, you know, so-and-so won't help me with this person because they need Medicaid. We won't turn anybody down. So there's a lot of work. I mean, most of the work I do this week right now has been with Medicaid, and I'm not going to get paid for any of it. But that's not why I'm on this earth. I mean, yeah, I need money, but I'm helping these people, and that why one person deserves help over another person shouldn't have to deal with their financial status. So, but that's basically how it works. We don't get paid for Medicare help, Medicaid help. You know, we just want them to get to the right place with no matter what their situation.
Well, that speaks
Thank you.
volumes for the organization. Thanks for sharing. Does that answer your question, Drew?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Anybody
It's a
else
good question.
looking for hands? If you had a question for Jill while she's with us still. Usually we're a little more vocal group today. I guess everybody's a little quiet today. Maybe it's the first day of spring. That's what it is. All
Oh,
right.
happy spring.
Oh, Sue, you had a question, Sue? That's my wife. Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who is living in Florida, and the person has some form of dementia, but not totally out of it. what kind of costs are you talking about? Like, because it's not where it's assisted living, it's someone that would need more care. And I know you're throwing numbers out there, but what would be the price range for someone like where this individual have to go in where they would be taken care of more or less? Kind of more like a hospital situation, I guess.
Yeah, so for memory care, it could range. It depends if it would be someone, if she'd want to share a room. It depends on the location, but you could be talking anywhere from $3,500 to $8,000 a month.
Wow.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
And if she called, she'd
Sure.
be able to get the information, so that's good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
And can I ask another question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Regards to somebody else I know who's currently she's living alone and she's in her late 80s. And she has fallen. So what kind of recommendation? I mean, she'd be more amenable to having someone come in to the
Okay.
home, but I don't know, she would have to speak to you, because I don't know financially. I mean, but is there a certain agencies that you recommend over others? I know, like, what at the expo we saw, Right Accord was there, and they're right here in Venice.
Mhm.
But I don't know if, like, would be that home health care where that you'd have to have a minimum of 4 to 6 hours a day? Is that how it works?
Well, the fact that she had a fall, I would recommend that she go into her doctor and see if she is eligible for some Medicare home health first, and then if she needs to supplement it with some companion service, I would recommend the companion service, because first off, she needs to get strong, evaluate why is she falling. Have someone go out to see, is her house safe? Did she fall on a bath mat? Did she fall because it's cluttered? Or is she having a medical issue? Is she dehydrated? There could be several reasons for that fall.
Okay. And if the fall wasn't recent, would she still qualify, or would have to happen within a certain time of the fall?
It depends on the doctor. If she has generalized weakness, or maybe her nutrition is poor and the doctor wants to get her strong, it's basically up to the doctor.
Okay, because she does
But
walk with a cane.
yeah, I'd be happy to meet, with her and kind of help guide her.
Okay, I'll talk to her about it. She's very private, but I'll give her the
Yeah,
information so she can make that decision. Thank you so much.
sure, absolutely.
All right, Mark Spivak, you have a question. You have to unmute yourself, Mark. No, you're still muted, Mark. There you go.
More of a statement than a question. We recently moved into a continuing care retirement community. It was a good move for us. We lived in a condo that was handicapped accessible, but we're missing the socialization factor. And where we live now, I can go anywhere I want to go on my scooter. And a lot of courses and a lot of different exercise programs I can attend. And we take advantage of the situation that we have. That's it.
What was your question, Mark?
As a statement.
Oh, a statement. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, good. So you live in a community, but you're wanting a little more socialization?
Well, we have the socialization in the community we're living in now.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Good. Is it independent living, or is it independent assisted?
It's independent, but it allows you to have whatever assistance you need in the unit you're in. A lot
Nice.
of people
Good.
use. A lot of people have companions.
Yeah, it's a good situation for you and your wife, Mark.
Good.
Thanks
I'm
for
glad you
sharing that.
made that choice.
All right.
I'm glad you're happy with it.
Ron, did you have a question again? You have to unmute yourself. Yeah, I can't unmute you, Ron. Sorry. There you go. Go ahead, Ron.
My question is this, can you explain to me what home health services is? When do you need it and how's it work? And what kind of cost is it? Home health service?
Sure. Home health services is assistance with personal care or occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy. Typically, it is prescribed by a physician after either a fall or an illness or a weakness or something like that, because you physically can't do it yourself. There you can have home health if you pay for it privately, but it's very expensive. It could be $45 an hour. So typically you get X amount of time. Medicare Part B will pay for it. And there's a copay. If it's medical, usually your Medicare Part A will pay for that.
I have a supplemental program, so would my supplemental program pick up?
I believe it will. I'm not an insurance expert, but it typically it would.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it
Sure.
sounds like you should probably schedule a meeting, Ron, and get your questions answered directly. That'll be good for you.
Yeah,
All right.
we're gonna meet with her.
Very good. All right. Anybody else have a question or comment before we let Jill go? We appreciate it very much for her coming today. We appreciate Golden Girls for all that they do in the community. And I'll definitely reach out to my friend in Connecticut, have him give you a call, see if you might be able to point
right.
in direction.
Great.
All
And
right,
if you
thank
know
so
anyone
much.
that's struggling, just let me know.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you so much, Jill, for coming.
Thank you. Sorry about the delay this morning.
No worries. That's technology for you. Thanks again.
Yeah.